The humans were relics. Admiral Vethrix's eyes scanned the incoming fleet report. 67 hulls, tiny, primitive, lightly armored. Their weapons were laughable compared to the Council's energy arrays. "Primitive constructs," he muttered. "They cannot survive our fire." His claw tapped the authorization console. Target designated, Earth fleet, civilian and military vessels alike. Action was immediate. Sensors displayed movement patterns of the human ships. They lacked formation symmetry, their vectors erratic in comparison to Council precision grids. Vethrix leaned back, a cruel smile forming. "Processing will be swift. These relics will be swept aside before they even respond." His voice echoed across the command deck, cold and surgical. Minutes passed. Every Council lance, plasma volley, and missile was poised for launch. Energy outputs calculated. Trajectories mapped, predicted impact points verified down to the second. Humiliation would precede annihilation. The humans' reaction time was irrelevant. They were relics, after all, incapable of strategy beyond instinct. Vethrix authorized fire. "Engage! Show them the futility of existence!" The first salvo streaked forward. Energy arcs illuminated the void, cutting swaths through empty space where human hulls should have been obliterated. Yet, as the Council's weaponry met their shields, indicators blinked. Absorption rates exceeded expectations, 98.3%. Shields fluctuated imperceptibly, compensating for every strike. The first reversal had occurred, though unacknowledged by the Council. A stinger line appeared on tactical feeds. Futility becomes resistance. Vethrix frowned. "Impossible," he muttered, scanning the readouts. "They are absorbing our fire, calculating countermeasures instantly." Each human vessel adjusted its minor thrusters, rotation, and shield harmonics in real time. What should have been annihilation became observation. Minimal hull stress, negligible structural compromise. The Council's energy volleys continued sequentially with millisecond precision. Human counters neutralized every salvo, deflecting arcs, redirecting excess energy into harmless diffusion patterns. Hull integrity 100%. Seconds to impact tracked and compensated. Civilian pods, 20,000 in motion, remained untouched. Vethrix's eyes narrowed. Morally, the humans were irrelevant, but tactically, they were now visible. Discipline, not chaos, drove their actions. Every movement measured, every counter instantaneous. The Council had expected relics, not reflexive intelligence. Another stinger line flashed. Calculations do not grant immunity. Vethrix activated reinforcement vectors. More ships aligned for attack. Yet the humans, steady, unshaken, maintained formation. Their ancient vessel hovered at the center, silent, awaiting commands only humans could issue. The Council's hubris was evident. They had underestimated the disciplined inevitability of a species they deemed primitive. By the end of the engagement window, the initial salvo had failed to disable a single hull completely. Counters updated, 67 human ships intact. Energy absorbed, 98.399%. Time elapsed, 14 minutes. Vethrix's contempt remained, but a cold discomfort had settled, and the humans, the relics, persisted. The transmission came through clear and unflinching. "Identify yourselves! Cease all interference immediately," the human voice commanded. There was no fear, no hesitation, only authority calibrated to precision. Registry codes scrolled across the Council feed. Earth Command Vessel, ID 47HX, certified under Interstellar Registry Section 42B. Every code verified, every sequence cross-referenced. The Council's assumption of compliance evaporated instantly. "Admiral." Vethrix leaned forward, claws tapping. "Primitive relics citing law," he muttered. "Insufferable." Yet every word of the transmission was documented, every syllable time-stamped. The humans were not only present, they were measurable, accountable, undeniable. Sensor overlays displayed real-time evacuation numbers. Civilian pods tracked across 20 designated corridors. Pod count, 10,482. Occupancy confirmed. Timestamp, 14:03 was 17. Auxiliary drones verified each movement. The humans were recording everything, the Council's interference, every maneuver, every attempted breach. Nothing escaped their documentation. A stinger line punctuated the feed. Compliance is optional. Documentation is mandatory. Vethrix's officers exchanged uneasy glances. Every escalation attempted by the Council was logged. Energy volleys, trajectory shifts, and shield penetrations were cross-referenced with evacuation timestamps. Efficiency of disruption, 0%. Every intervention was rendered inert by human foresight and preparation. Civilians remained untouched. Every numerical data point reinforced the message. Interference would not succeed. The transmission continued, calm and precise. Civilian evacuation proceeding. 20 designated corridors. Occupancy verified. Every pod in motion, 12,678. As of 14:15:08, timestamped and logged. All interference attempts recorded. No escalation permitted without breach of law. Vethrix scowled. His calculations had not accounted for documentation as a weapon. The humans wielded compliance and legality like shields. Their metrics were quantified, public, and instantaneous. Each number, each timestamp, each verified pod amplified the moral and operational dilemma for the Council. A second stinger line appeared. Numbers do not lie. Council weapons remained armed, ready to enforce authority, but each attempt to override the human vessel triggered immediate logging and counter-notification to neutral archives. Commanders across the coalition watched in disbelief as the humans transformed simple observation into dominance. Evacuation corridors remained open, shields optimized for civilian safety, and documentation created an unassailable moral and tactical advantage. By the 21st minute, 65% of evacuation pods had cleared designated zones. Every timestamp verified, every human hull intact, every Council maneuver accounted for. The humans had not fired, but their control was absolute. Vethrix exhaled, realizing that this engagement was no longer about weapons or fleets. The humans had reframed the conflict entirely. Law, precision, and measured authority had become their edge. And across the void, the Council learned that a human vessel could assert power without ever raising a gun. Energy arcs flared across the void. The Council's lances and plasma arrays struck in coordinated volleys, designed to shred human hulls before they could react. Predicted impact vectors aligned perfectly. Target, 67 human ships. Estimated destruction, total within 90 seconds. Confidence was absolute, but the shields held. Indicators blinked across tactical feeds. Absorption rate, 98.7%. Every energy barrage dissipated across reinforced fields. Hull integrity, 100%. Seconds to impact tracked. Countermeasures executed instantly. The first visible reversal was undeniable. The Council's fire, intended to obliterate, had merely been neutralized. A stinger line punctuated the display. Fury meets futility. Admiral Vethrix gritted mandibles. Impossible, he muttered. They cannot absorb this much. Calculate countermeasures instantly. Sensors tracked micro-adjustments on each human vessel. Thrusters fired in precise pulses. Shield harmonics compensated for each strike. Projectile deflections occurred without deviation from calculated expectations. The humans were not improvising. They were executing pre-planned responses in real time. The Council intensified fire. Lances rotated, volleys synchronized to millisecond intervals. Energy arcs converged, streaking toward human formations. Readouts displayed hull stress, 0.3% average, fluctuating negligibly. Pod and civilian displacement unaffected. Every numerical anchor reinforced human resilience. Another stinger line appeared. Absorption is defiance. Council officers attempted lateral maneuvers. One cruiser, mass 220,000 metric tons, pivoted to flank. Railguns fired in tandem. Human shields, countered with imperceptible rotation. Reallocation of energy grids and timed microbursts. Hull breaches, 0. Structural integrity maintained. Evacuation pods, 20,000 and 13,872 tracked. Time stamped, 14-42-57. The humans absorbed, calculated, and nullified every attack. Vethrix's confidence wavered. The humans were no relics. They were disciplined predators, unshakable, unyielding. Each barrage that failed amplified their dominance. The Council's doctrine relied on overwhelming force. The humans relied on perfect anticipation. A final stinger. Line punctuated the engagement. Resistance quantified. Victory uncertain. By the 5th minute, energy expenditure exceeded planned thresholds by 17%. Shields had not faltered. Human formations adjusted dynamically, maintaining optimal defensive positioning while preparing for counterattack. Every impact, every absorption, every microsecond recorded. Tactical displays updated continuously. 98.7% efficiency confirmed across all human hulls. The Council paused briefly, reassessing. Their numerical certainty was gone. Every salvo became a test of patience, not a measure of destruction. They had expected relics. They had met inevitability. The humans had turned attack into observation, energy into harmless arcs, and numerical superiority into irrelevance. And as the final salvo dissipated into controlled diffusion, the Council realized for the first time, this battle would not follow their calculations. The humans were rewriting the rules in real time. The human fleet moved like a single, living entity. Sensors tracked acceleration far beyond Council predictions. 0.12 C in sustained bursts, hulls synchronized to millisecond intervals. 67. Ships formed patterns that seemed chaotic but were perfectly calculated. Enemy formations, once rigid and confident, began to collapse under sheer velocity and precise positioning. A stinger line appeared on tactical feeds. Speed becomes strategy. Admiral Vethrix barked orders. Compensate! Recalculate vectors! Intercept! Now! Council cruisers attempted to adjust, but human ships anticipated every move. Distance between vessels shrank according to human timing, forcing enemy formations into intersecting paths, collisions narrowly avoided only by minor emergency. Thruster bursts. Tonnage, 220,000, 280,000 metric tons per cruiser. Seconds to impact recalculated continuously, yet humans maintained optimal spacing, micro-maneuvers executed with perfection. Minor thrusters fired in synchronized pulses, redirecting energy and momentum. Shield harmonics adjusted dynamically, compensating for velocity-induced strain. Formation collapses were calculated. 5 Council wings, disoriented within 3 minutes. Vectors misaligned by 0.0004 radians on average, causing crossfire incidents among themselves. A second stinger line punctuated the display. Chaos is controlled. Human, kinetic dominance became visible. Railgun and missile platforms aligned for interception while the fleet accelerated, creating simultaneous threats across multiple axes. Enemy energy projections failed to converge. Targeting systems could not adapt to the speed and microvariance. Shield absorption remained optimal, 98.5 to 99%, despite the extreme maneuvering. Evacuation pods, 20,000, 14,926 counted, remained secure. Timestamps verified, 14:52.18. Human control ensured civilians moved unharmed even as battle vectors shifted. Precision was tactical, moral, and absolute. Vethrix's forces faltered. Their doctrine relied on predictable distance, predictable timing. Humans weaponized both. Every engagement window recalculated in real time, exploiting Council. Reaction delays. The fleet's acceleration forced cruisers into vulnerable positions, forcing surrender signals in small, isolated clusters. By the 6th minute, 4 Council wings had partially disengaged. Remaining vessels were forced to overcompensate for minor course corrections, exposing engines and hulls to kinetic strikes. Distance between key Council command cruisers decreased to 1,240 kilometers in vulnerable alignment. Microseconds decided survival. Another stinger line appeared. Momentum dictates fate. Within 9 minutes, the human fleet had restructured enemy positions across 6 sectors. Micro-timing induced self-interference among Council wings. Hull breaches. Recorded, 3 primary, 2 secondary. Tonnage affected, 5,130 metric tons. The humans accelerated, collapsed formations, and maintained unbroken control. By the 10th minute, human positioning ensured every Council vessel was vulnerable to the next kinetic salvo. Engines strained, shields overcompensated, morale frayed. Distance, speed, and timing had become weapons, wielded with ruthless clarity. And as human fleets slowed to calculated cruising velocity, Vethrix realized that raw firepower alone could not overcome a predator that measured every microsecond and weaponized inevitability itself. The salvo began with silent precision. Railguns fired in unison. Metal slugs accelerated to 0.08 c, each, trajectory pre-calculated to the millimeter. Missile waves followed, targeting every exposed engine, weapon array, and command node. 67 human ships executed the strike flawlessly, timing synchronized to microsecond intervals. Seconds to impact counted, 12.7, 10.4, 9.1. A stinger line punctuated the tactical display. Impact is inevitability. Council hulls absorbed the first dozen rail slugs, partially. Microfractures appeared along armor seams. Hull breaches, 3 primary, 5 secondary. Tonnage destroyed, 12,560 metric tons. Sensors confirmed structural compromise but no immediate catastrophic failure. The humans recalculated instantly, redirecting follow-up missiles to compromised sections while maintaining optimal defensive posture elsewhere. Each missile wave detonated with surgical force. Explosive yield, 1.2 x 109 joules per unit. Counters tracked debris, hull displacement, and force vectors. Impact zones, 5 cruisers partially disabled, 3 wings misaligned. Numerical anchors flashed across every display. Seconds to impact, hull integrity, tonnage displaced. Casualties 0 so far. Another stinger line appeared. Destruction measured, not chaotic. Admiral Kalen's voice carried calmly through comms. Adjust secondary salvo. Confirm target vectors. Maintain shield harmonics at 98.7%. Human. Crews responded instantly, microthrusters compensating for kinetic recoil. Missiles redirected mid-course. Railgun batteries recalibrated to new targeting offsets. Coordination was flawless. Council ships struggled to respond. Defensive lances misaligned. Energy arrays overheated, attempting to track multiple incoming vectors simultaneously. Hull breaches increased, 6 primary, 7 secondary. Tonnage affected, 18,240 metric tons. Seconds to impact for remaining critical targets, 4.6, 3.8, 2.9. Every number verified on tactical feeds, a stinger line punctuated the engagement. Kinetics defined supremacy. Human missiles created cascading effects. Explosions displaced Council formations, forcing micro-corrections in trajectory. Hulls, already weakened by prior volleys, experienced stress fractures, engines disrupted, weapon arrays offline. Evacuation corridors maintained, 20,000, 15,128 civilians accounted for. Timestamp verified, 15/18/43. Precision did not sacrifice ethical control. By the 10th minute, 9 Council cruisers partially disabled, 4 wings disoriented. Total tonnage impacted, 30,800 metric tons. Seconds to impact monitored, 1.7, 1.2, 0.9. Human command maintained perfect timing, every projectile and burst calculated to ensure maximal structural compromise with minimal collateral risk. A final stinger line flashed. Victory is quantified. As the salvo concluded, human fleets held formation, shields optimal, engines ready. Council forces were fractured, hulls breached, and tonnage destroyed, logged, and time-stamped. Every action measured, every number verified. The first kill-shot set-piece had been executed. The humans had demonstrated that precise kinetics, coordinated, acceleration, and ruthless calculation could rewrite the rules of engagement. And in the aftermath, the Council's confidence shattered, leaving only stunned observation and the inevitability of the next human maneuver. The footage spread across. Every sensor and holofeed council officers froze as civilian pods appeared, moving in orderly corridors. 20 million lives in motion, time-stamped and verified. 20,015,429. Hull integrity intact. Evacuation paths unblocked. Shields optimized for protection, not aggression. Every sequence broadcast to Coalition Command, every civilian accounted. For a stinger line punctuated the display. Innocence is unassailable. Admiral Vethrix's claw hovered over the engagement console. They dare use civilians as shields, he spat. The Council had expected compliance, surrender, or disarray. Instead, humans enforced law and ethics simultaneously. Each pod's position and trajectory was documented. Energy volleys redirected only when civilian paths could be confirmed safe. The moral dilemma was immediate: strike and violate interstellar law, or pause and risk momentum. Sensor overlays quantified compliance. Evacuation corridors, 20 designated routes. Pod count per corridor, 1,250. Time since launch, 17 minutes. Shield absorption remained at 98.7%, even while diverting energy to ensure civilian safety. The humans were unyielding, but restrained, combining ruthless calculation with ethical precision. Another stinger line appeared. Justice measured in real time. Council commanders debated, recalculating risk. The humans had reframed the engagement. Civilians were not collateral. They were the moral axis around which strategy pivoted. Footage of the evacuation, verified and time-stamped, was relayed to every coalition outpost. Every officer watching understood the shift. Violation of law would have political, ethical, and practical consequences. Human fleets adjusted formation to protect civilians while maintaining offensive pressure. Railgun batteries and missile arrays targeted only council cruisers in non-interference zones. Shield harmonics compensated for acceleration, micro-adjustments calculated for minimal collateral risk. Hull breaches among council vessels, 6 primary, 4 secondary. Tonnage destroyed, 15,430 metric tons. Seconds to impact, continuously recalculated, ensuring precision did not sacrifice ethical control. A third stinger line punctuated the sequence. Ethics is strategy. Admiral Kalen's calm voice guided operations. Maintain civilian corridors! Track every timestamp. Confirm integrity of all pods. Sensor officers complied instantly. Every pod's movement, every evacuation timestamp, every council maneuver interfering with civilian paths logged in real time. The humans weaponized restraint as effectively as their kinetic superiority. By the 20th minute, coalition morale faltered. Officers witnessing the footage and metrics understood that the humans combined ruthlessness with restraint. Lethal. Precision against combatants. Absolute protection for civilians. Every number reinforced the point. 20,015,429 safe evacuees, 0 civilian casualties, 98.7% shield efficiency. Another stinger line appeared. Cross the line. Suffer consequence. And as council formations staggered under coordinated kinetic strikes, human fleets maintained unbroken ethical and tactical dominance, demonstrating that the line between law and power could be weaponized. The galaxy-scale stakes had crystallized. Morality, civilians, and precision were now inseparable from victory. Humanity had anticipated every variable. Admiral Vethrix studied the incoming intelligence reports. Redundant fleets, each identical in capability, and were already en route to predicted engagement zones. Sensors confirmed 6 additional human squadrons, hidden behind debris fields and planetary shadows, ready to intercept council flanks. They were not reacting. They were executing a pre-written strategy, calibrated for maximum effect. A stinger line punctuated the display. Preparation is inevitability. Evacuation corridors were verified. 20 discrete routes across 3 orbital sectors, monitored and time-stamped. Pod occupancy, 20,015,782 civilians accounted for, shields and acceleration synchronized. Auxiliary drones confirmed corridor integrity, adjusting microgravity fields to prevent collisions. Every calculation, every metric was pre-planned. The humans were not improvising. They had anticipated council assumptions, trajectories, and delays. Council officers exchanged uneasy glances. Energy arrays and railgun volleys, previously intended to disrupt formation, had failed not due to luck, but because humans had prepared counters for every conceivable vector. The redundancy of their fleets ensured that even if one wing were compromised, others would complete the kill matrix. Seconds to impact recalculated continuously, 8.2, 6.7, 5.1. Hull integrity remained optimal. Another stinger line appeared. Redundancy as dominance. Legal frameworks compounded tactical advantage. Transmission feeds indicated that human command continuously cited interstellar law, registry codes, and ethical statutes. Every attempted interference by the Council was documented, time-stamped, and logged. Violations would trigger automatic notifications to neutral arbitration channels. Humanity's supremacy was encoded not just in weapons or fleets, but in bureaucracy weaponized as authority. Micro-maneuvers ensured civilian safety, while offensive systems recalibrated. Railgun volleys and missile trajectories adapted dynamically, preserving evacuation corridors. Shield harmonics optimized for combined defense and mobility. Human crews operated in perfect synchrony. Acceleration bursts of 0.12 c, micro-adjustments. To compensate for Council countermeasures, shields absorbing 98.7% of directed energy. Every human vessel acted as part of a singular, disciplined organism. A third stinger line punctuated the data. Law is a weapon too. By the 15th minute, Council morale faltered. Officers witnessed not only numerical superiority nullified, but strategic inevitability. 6 redundant human wings positioned for counterattack, 20 evacuation corridors verified and protected, and legal documentation ensured coalition hesitation. The humans had made every possible move before the Council even initiated engagement. Numbers flashed: 67 active human ships, 6 hidden wings, 15,582 evacuees, shield absorption 98.7%, acceleration 0.12 c, seconds to impact tracked continuously. Each number confirmed the strategic and ethical calculus. And as Vethrix realized the Council had been outmaneuvered before the first salvo, the political landscape shifted. Humanity's preparation was no longer just military. It was moral, illegal, and systemic, leaving coalition officers questioning every assumption about power and inevitability. The assault began without hesitation. Human fleets advanced, weapons primed, trajectories calculated to microsecond precision. Remaining Council wings, scattered and reactive, faced kinetic barrages that left no margin for error. Railguns fired in coordinated waves, missile swarms targeted propulsion systems, weapon nodes, and command centers. Seconds to impact tracked. Continuously, 9.3, 7.8, 6.4. Hull breaches began to accumulate. A stinger line punctuated the display. Silence follows certainty. Council cruisers collapsed, system by system. Wing 1, 40 ships, suffered 12 primary hull breaches, 5 secondary, tonnage lost. 15,420 metric tons. Evacuation pods unaffected, 16,134. Wing 2, 26 ships, forced surrender after 6 minutes under concentrated fire. Surrender rate displayed, 81%. Micro-adjustments by human thrusters maintained optimal positioning, preventing escape while maximizing efficiency. Another stinger line appeared. Domination is measured. Wing 3 attempted evasive maneuvers. Shields absorbed 98.5% of railgun impacts, while missile waves disrupted engine arrays. Seconds to impact, recalculated in real time. 2 primary hull breaches, tonnage destroyed, 7,980 metric tons. Council morale collapsed under relentless, precise application of force. Human ships maintained formation, accelerating and decelerating, in perfect synchrony to channel Council wings into kill zones. Human fleets imposed order through acceleration and timing, distances compressed, forcing Council units into overlap where micro-corrections failed. 10 cruisers of Wing 4 misaligned, resulting in crossfire incidents. Hull integrity, 40–65% depending on exposure. Tonnage destroyed, 12,150 metric tons. Seconds to impact continuously updated, 5.4, 4.2, 3.1. Evacuation corridors preserved, civilians safe. A third Stinger line punctuated the engagement. Precision dictates survival. By the 4th hour, all Council wings were either neutralized or surrendering. Total hull breaches recorded 47 primary, 23 secondary. Tonnage destroyed 36,200 metric tons. Surrender rate 87%. Human fleets maintained 0 casualties. Shield absorption 98.7%. Acceleration 0.12 c in bursts. Every number quantified the domination. Every metric reinforced human inevitability. Council Command attempted last-minute coordination. Redundant signals failed to restore cohesion. Human Command anticipated every vector, closing every corridor, preventing regrouping. Tactical displays confirmed the systematic neutralization. 6 systems cleared, all remaining Council ships either disabled or surrendered. A 4th Stinger line appeared. Resistance is optional. By the 6th hour, the battlefield was silent. Human fleets held formation, shields optimal, engines ready. Council forces had been dismantled, system by system. Every hull breach recorded, every tonnage destroyed verified, every surrender time-stamped. Human crews moved as one, unflinching, disciplined, and precise. And as sensors scanned the void, no Council vessel remained capable of coordinated action. 6 hours of silence confirmed that humanity had executed total domination, leaving only calculated restraint in its wake. The human fleet halted, weapons still primed but restrained. Council commanders watched from disabled cruisers, hulls breached, engines offline. Surrender signals sent, but the humans did not advance with vengeance. Instead, medical pods deployed, shielded and optimized for rapid response. Civilian and Council personnel alike received aid. Evacuation pods verified. 20,016,982 accounted for. Timestamps recorded 16:42:11. Every number confirmed care, not cruelty. A Stinger line punctuated the feeds. Mercy is strength. Admiral Kalin transmitted terms. All personnel will be documented, treated, and where necessary, held for trial. No executions without due process. We do not kill prisoners. Shields extended over surrendering ships. Medical drones descended in micro-bursts to stabilize, life support, and provide emergency care. Hull integrity assessments confirmed, 65% primary systems offline, secondary systems stabilized. Tonnage affected, 18,730 metric tons. Seconds to intervention, 2.3, 1.7, 1.1. Council morale crumbled further. Officers realized their authority had evaporated not through annihilation, but through measured dominance and unassailable ethics. Documentation of every breach, surrender, and evacuation was transmitted to neutral coalition archives. Every action recorded and timestamped. 16:44:58, 16:45:03, 16.45:27. Humanity wielded law and morality as decisively as railguns and missiles. Another Stinger line appeared. Justice, not spectacle. Human fleets reorganized around surrendered cruisers. Medical aid, tactical repair, and environmental stabilization continued in perfect synchrony. Railguns and missiles remained powered, but idle, ready to respond only if restraint was violated. Civilian pods moved to secure zones. Shield absorption, 98.7%. Acceleration maintained for rapid redeployment, 0.12 c. Every movement calculated to preserve life while maintaining command over the battlefield. By the 10th minute, surrender rates confirmed, 93% of remaining Council vessels compliant. Hull breaches documented, 47 primary, 23 secondary. Tonnage destroyed or disabled, 36,200 metric tons. Evacuation and aid operations continued without interruption. Seconds to impact for potential threats continuously monitored, ensuring zero surprise attacks. A final stinger line punctuated the operation. Power without cruelty. The Council's authority had collapsed, not in spectacle, but in undeniable consequence. Humans had enforced justice, stabilized civilians, and maintained dominance without bloodlust. Legal frameworks were applied, medical aid prioritized, and every number recorded to ensure transparency. And as human fleets maintained formation, shields optimal and engines primed, the galaxy observed that true supremacy was measured not in destruction alone, but in the capacity to enforce law, protect innocence, and hold power responsibly. The battlefield lay silent. Human fleets held, formation, engines idling, shields optimized, hull breaches repaired, civilians secured, 16,742 accounted for. Surrendered Council vessels stabilized, medical aid ongoing. Every number confirmed the thoroughness of human control. Victory was complete, yet calm prevailed among crews. Stinger line punctuated the sensor feeds. Silence is preparation. Admiral Kalin scanned the outer rim. Sensors flickered, picking up anomalies previously masked by interstellar debris and weak subspace signatures. Readouts. 7 distinct signals moving at velocities beyond known Council capabilities. Distances. 884, 12.7, 16.2 light-years from the nearest human fleet. Accelerations recorded, 0.15 c bursts, unregistered on standard tracking. Probable tonnage, estimated 1.2 x 106 metric tons per object. These were no Council remnants. They were unknown, disciplined, and formidable. Another stinger line appeared, the Yasai, unknown approaches. Human command activated layered reconnaissance. Sensor drones deployed in synchronized swarms, each with independent thrust vectors and shield harmonics optimized for detection. Transmission relays extended to the furthest, fleet elements ensuring instant data feedback. Seconds to detection measured. 3.7, 2.9, 2.1. Every anomaly was catalogued, scanned, and cross-referenced with known exoplanetary signatures and historical fleet movements. Council officers, now prisoners under human protocol, whispered among themselves. Even they recognized the new scale of the threat. Their doctrines were irrelevant here. Humanity had prevailed against known forces, but the unknown waited. A third stinger line punctuated the command overlay. Preparation is the only weapon. Fleet vectors adjusted subtly, maintaining defensive coverage over human-occupied systems, while advancing sensor reach into the rim. Redundant wings activated, capable of microsecond reaction bursts, shield absorption maintained at 98.7%, acceleration bursts at 0.12 c. Evacuation corridors remained open, 20,000, 16,742 civilians verified. Micro-adjustments synchronized across 67 ships. The humans were ready, even as uncertainty grew. Sensor logs revealed patterns. Formations suggested intelligent coordination, not random drift. Probable numbers, at least 3 distinct. Fleet clusters, each comprising 14-19 vessels. Estimated approach time to nearest human outpost, 6 hours. Tactical simulations activated, projecting interception and engagement strategies across multiple contingencies. Another stinger line flashed. We are not alone. Admiral Kalin issued silent commands through fleet AI. Monitor, record, prepare. Weapons remained primed, kinetic and energy arrays verified. Redundant communications ensured no data loss. Every human ship acted as part of an unshakable organism, ready to defend, ready to respond, ready to calculate. Every crew member aware of the stakes, yet disciplined, unflinching. By the 10th minute, all preliminary scans confirmed the same. The outer rim was stirring with a force neither predicted nor catalogued. Human fleets adjusted their vector grids, shields, harmonics, and acceleration profiles in anticipation. Every metric, every number, every microsecond accounted for. A final stinger line punctuated the moment. The galaxy had been won. The galaxy, beyond awaited. And as the rim's unknown signals drew closer, Humanity's focus shifted effortlessly from victory to vigilance, from the known battlefield to the horizon of untold threats, prepared to meet whatever came next with the same ruthless precision and unshakable discipline that had secured the first victory.